Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Heart of the Spectrum. I'm your host, Monique Bass, founder of Heart of the Spectrum. We create space for real conversations, real stories, and real impact within the autism community. Tonight's guest is a woman who wears many hats with grace and purpose. She is an entrepreneur, storyteller, community builder, and a visionary founder of Meet the Woman Behind the Business, a platform dedicated to amplify and celebrate the brilliance of women in business. But beyond all of her accomplishments, tonight we're highlighting one of her most important roles, being a mother. Joining us is Sadie Pegues-Hall, who will be sharing her personal journey as an autism mom, opening up about the realities, the challenges, the lessons, and the love that comes with raising a daughter on the spectrum. This conversation is about advocacy, motherhood, resilience, and purpose. And I know it's going to touch a lot of hearts tonight. Please help me welcome the amazing Sadie Pegues-Hall. Yay! Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Monique. I'm really so pleased to be here.
So, Sadie, today I want to talk about the woman behind the business, but also the mother behind the mission. Can you introduce us to that part of your life?
Yes. So again, I'm Sadie Pegues-Hall. And as Monique stated, I am the founder, the visionary behind Meet the Woman Behind the Business magazine. And also, my most important role is being the mother, autism mom to my baby girl, Kyla. I do have two daughters, but my younger daughter is the one who is on the spectrum. And she is the absolute joy and light of our lives. And she has really been such a blessing. Children are a blessing in general, but just what she has brought to our lives, just showing us all, anyone she touches, anyone she's around, it's almost as if she ignites something in you. And
Mhm.
that part of my life is just I can never quite put it into words because it's really difficult to express what joy she's brought to us, just that pure innocence that she possesses. And it's good to see that type of innocence, especially in this world that we live in right now.
True, true indeed. How old is she?
She is she turns 18 next month.
Mhm.
And so we're bracing for that. And it's funny because as she's turning 18, she is also now just so you know, like she is what we would consider a level 3 as far
Mhm.
as autism and which level she falls under. So she does require a lot of assistance and hand over, this type of guidance with her, a lot of prompting for certain things. But she's a very bright girl on honor roll pretty much every marking period.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
exactly.
wonderful.
That's why I look at her teacher sometimes. I'm like, what? I'm like, I ain't doubting it, but I'm just like, what? Like my baby. And she is going into she's that teenager mode where she
Mhm.
wants her space and she's closing the door if we getting too loud, like, y'all doing too much. I need my space. And it's funny because when people think of kids with autism, a lot of times they try to tend to put them in this box. But then you also have to realize that they are growing, they mature just
Mhm.
as we do in
Mhm.
certain ways, but just maybe not at the same pace. So, yeah,
So
she's
can
she's
you
just
can you educate people on the different levels of autism or the
okay.
spectrum?
So, level 1 is where they do not need, of course, as much of assistance. As far as breaking down what each one is able to do, I can't, break down all of that because I guess in my, my hyper focus was Kyla and where she kind of fell and what she needed. And for her, like I was saying, she does a lot of scripting, and it's just as far as trying to maintain that focus. If you can maintain her focus and hold it, you can get her to be a lot more successful in certain things that you're trying to get her to achieve. But
Mhm.
she does need a lot of assistance with, preparing her meals. She can kind of feed, she can feed herself for the most part, but just preparing those meals and a lot of bathroom assistance. And I have gotten the question a lot as a mother of a daughter with autism.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, how does that go? How does that? I was like, she's still a girl. She's still a
Mm-hmm.
young woman, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and young woman things are going just like grown woman things are happening. And you just have to, give that extra care when
Mm-hmm.
that time arises. And I was laughing with someone else I was speaking with about it. I was like, I was on top of it. I was talking to the teachers. I was like, all right, she'll be this age. I got mine at this age. She
Mm-hmm.
might get hers, at 10, 11 years old. I was like, what do we got to do? What do we got to do to make sure that, this goes over? Or how do we help her to be a little more self-sufficient with that?
Right.
And it's a process. It really is a lot. Um and
So if she's cramping and stuff, how we cramp, do you how can she express that, or how do you know she's not feeling well or in pain?
okay, and that's one of the things about having a child with autism, that is she's partially vocal to where she can communicate maybe in a word or two something
Mm-hmm.
that she wants, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as trying to communicate pain or discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I have to watch her like a hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the most helpless feelings in the world, is for your child to possibly be in pain
Mm-hmm.
and them not be able to communicate that to you. Now, for me, I was making certain preparations because I know I had endometriosis, my mom, my older daughter. So I'm keeping an eye on her, like this could be something that she may deal with.
Right.
And the most she would do, maybe sometimes she might, the most you can tell with Kyla is if she slows down a little bit. Because
Mm-hmm.
if she starts slowing down and it's around that time of the month, then it may be likely that she's not feeling 100%, or she could be having some cramping. So it's just always a matter of just watching her.
Being observant and learning them and learning,
Yes,
stepping into
yes.
their world.
And I know, like, she was having some problems with her teeth, because it's very difficult trying to ask any autism parent, trying to brush their teeth and make sure, and you trying to get in that mouth and they like, this ain't what we trying to do right now. And so I noticed she was chewing differently a
Mm-hmm.
few times. And I'm like, I think something's going on. But it's just like you said, just being observant. And sure enough,
Mm-hmm.
there was, and just being observant. But it's so difficult whenever you think about, okay, Lord, how long have they been suffering,
Mm-hmm.
before I actually picked it up?
Right.
And then we have to learn not to be so hard on ourselves whenever we do pick up something,
Mm-hmm.
because they some of them don't communicate that. So it's
Right.
just, we have to show ourselves grace in those moments as well.
Right. So the to go back to it, so level one is they're more self-sufficient,
Right. Level 1 is more self-sufficient.
and then two is kind of in between,
Right. In between,
and three they need more assistance.
they need more assistance. That's probably like where Kyla is. She's probably falling, a little higher than the level 2, um,
But not
because
so much
the
three.
right. Like she's definitely in level 3 where she needs assistance with bathroom stuff and just her communication. She is not in a space, and I like to say yet because I don't want to limit her, but she's
Mm-hmm.
not in a space where she is initiating conversations with anyone. Um, Myself, her grandparents, maybe her sibling, maybe her aunts, may be able to pick up on what she's saying because we're around her. We can
Right.
kind of understand what it is that she's saying. But as far as her going to someone who may be a complete stranger and trying to say what it is that she wants,
Mm-hmm.
they may not be able to pick up on what that is. Not that
Right.
she's not trying to perhaps communicate, but then she'll show a level of frustration where if you're not getting it, well, you know what, you're not getting it. I'm just going,
So
she's done
so
that with
she
me.
gets
Like,
frustrated.
she like, all right, I done said this like 3 times, and this lady is not getting it. All right, forget that pizza. You understand pizza? Like pizza,
Let me tell her something she understands.
Yeah, you're
So
not
so
getting it.
so when did your journey as an autism mom begin? Like when did you find out?
Okay, so with Kyla, she was, I'd taken her for a checkup, and this is a point I want to make too with some of the pediatricians or doctors out there as well, because we were living in New Jersey at the time, and I know at that time New Jersey had the highest numbers there were for autism.
Mm-hmm.
Kyla was diagnosed, or it was first mentioned to me when in 2010 when she was 2 years old,
Okay.
and I was a project manager at the time in corporate America, and I did carry a heavy workload. And I just thought that maybe she was kind of developing at her own pace. My older daughter is 13 years older than Kyla.
Wow.
So,
Uh-huh.
yes. So, I just thought that she was kind of developing perhaps at her own pace.
Right.
So we go to the doctor, and the doctor's like doing his little write up. They already did her checkup, and he's like, yeah, yeah, showing signs of autism. And I'm like, because I was like, I'm sorry, what? She, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, what? And then now I'm looking at her. She's standing up on the little, bed in the room, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sorry, what? And he's not even looking at me. He's
Wow.
writing and
Uh-huh.
he's saying this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what, he said, oh, well, she's off in her own world right now. And she's just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I just thought she was singing her Barney song. I didn't, so I just need doctors, because we know the numbers are up there, but I
Right.
need you to use a little bit more bedside
Compassion.
manner whenever you're relaying or delivering information like that,
Mm-hmm.
because this is this parent's first time hearing that, and it's pertaining to their child. So you just need to be a little bit more sensitive and just deliver that with a little bit more care,
And
because yeah, you
compassion.
may have seen like 5 or 6 cases come in today. I don't know that, but that still ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
need to use a certain amount of tact when you are delivering information like that, because again, this is our first time hearing it, and it's pertaining to our child.
Right.
So it was 2010 when she was first diagnosed, and um you recommended that she go into early intervention.
Mm-hmm.
So I, had them coming to the house for the early intervention. And then eventually she was, I'll say, officially diagnosed by the time she was 3 at in Morristown. And
But that
from then on,
moment, that ride home must have been, how was that ride home?
I'll never forget this, and I'm going to get so emotional when I tell this. So I'm driving, and first person I call, well, before I could get out of the the doctor's office parking lot, I'll say this is what I have: the best support system when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to. At the time, my mom was living. At the time, my mom, and then my daughter's father's family, that whole crew, that whole side,
Mm-hmm.
the best support system. Because a lot of my family, everybody's back home in the South, so that whole everybody's just so amazing. So before I could get out of the parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
her grandmother's calling, always wanting to know what the checkup was, how it went. And
Right.
I'm like, said, yeah. I said, he says she's showing signs of autism.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, yeah, that's what he's saying. So, I told her what the next step was gonna be or what have you. Got off the phone with her, called my mom, let her know, hung up with her. Now I'm driving,
Mm-hmm.
And we go to some fast food restaurant. I get her food and we're just sitting in the car because I just need a minute before I get in anybody's face or whatever at that time. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just sitting in the car because it's just the unknown, not the how can I say this? Not necessarily the fear of her having autism in that moment, but just the unknown of
Of how you
what
how to
that
navigate it, how to
yes,
navigate through
what
it.
that means and what how do we navigate this? So I'm sitting in the car and I'm filled with all these emotions and I get another phone call and it is her father's sister. And so she calls me and she says, Sadie, look, I want you to know, don't you worry about this. We got this. Whatever it is, we're going to get through it. We'll figure it out. So don't you worry. She said, we'll just figure out whatever the next steps are. And Kyla's going to be just fine. We all love her. And, we love you and everything is going to be fine. And she gets off the phone. And I'm just like, that's when I broke down because I realized in that moment how blessed and fortunate I
Got me
was
tearing
to
up
have,
over here.
to have people, because not everybody has that. I have seen that where, family acts different and people aren't as supportive as they should be.
Right.
And to this day, like that has not changed. That has not changed with any of them. And
That's
I'm
wonderful.
so blessed and Kyla
Uh-huh.
is so blessed because at the time, like her father just passed away in July.
Oh no.
So it's just been a lot of
And were you,
navigating to
were you
make.
guys together the whole time or?
No, we were not
Oh,
together, but I mean, still really close with his family.
right.
And you know, we we're all just trying to rally together to make sure that Kyla was good and see how she handled that, how she adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
And her grandmother actually just told me, I think last week, that she's just starting to venture into that room that he used to be in there at her grandmother's house. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because before she wasn't really going in there and playing with any of the items that she had in there, her little ponies and everything. So she just started going back into that room. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's difficult because you don't know what she's feeling. You don't know, she doesn't express it. She hasn't, in a vocal way, asked for him.
Right.
So she just noticed that he wasn't where he normally was. And then
Mhm.
she just like came out of that space. And then her grandmother said, I think just last week that she just started kind of like going into that room. So it's just difficult because you just don't know where she's at with it. It's yeah,
Yeah.
like
So,
how she
so
is.
so as a mother, what was the hardest part of accepting and understanding her diagnosis? What was the hardest part?
Um, you know what? I didn't start experiencing like kind of what the hardest, I mean, how can I put this? And I want to, when you first get the diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're so hyper focused on what steps you need to try to take to get her to whatever point A, point B, or whatever. And then you also learn along those steps is that not everybody is going to progress at the same level. You don't know at that point what level your child's going to get to. But I think the hardest part of the diagnosis has been now, simply because kids, friends of mine who had kids her
Mm-hmm.
age, like when they were babies, we
Mm-hmm.
would go visit each other and everything. And now that these kids are homecoming dances, boyfriends, driver's license, things, and you're seeing this all on your social media. The hardest part of the diagnosis now is like not being able to see my daughter do those things.
Right.
And it's a certain sadness for the, like, I've heard people say, like, mourning that life that
Right.
you thought it was going to be, and just really kind of being slapped in the face with these moments that just like pop up out of nowhere on your social media.
Right. But I kind of feel like being a lot of people feel like autism, there's more cases with autism now than in the past, but I kind of feel like it's just that it's being more brought to the forefront right now. People
Yeah.
are coming out, talking about it,
Mhm.
showing you. So first it was awareness, now it's acceptance and
Mhm.
teaching people to learn them, to understand them.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Mhm.
I think and I feel like that's what heart of the spectrum is like there's things coming that
Mhm.
it's going to be a new world for them. It's their norm. So
Right.
instead of seeing what we normally see, like how you would mourn that world, like it's a different world. Like
Yes.
we're going to create the world for them.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
parents
Yes.
don't
And
miss
that's the
that. Yeah.
thing. That's what you go into. But I also tell people that it's okay to be honest with your feelings about those things as well.
Mhm.
Like you were saying, as far as creating this world for them, and we do that just by parents as the we create what's best for them and that space for them. But at the same time, I also tell people it's okay to be real with your feelings about
Right.
being, you know, sad about the part that that you may not experience with your
Right.
child, because I just think, it's important to acknowledge that it's okay for you to know that you feel that way. And like you said, at the same time, create this world that works for our children,
Right.
but at the same time, it's okay to be like, you know what, I am, sad that my child, isn't experiencing,
Right.
or I'm
Yeah,
not experiencing that.
it's definitely not an easy thing. It's like almost like
Yeah.
a woman that you don't get married, right? The woman through
Right.
life, women are supposed to get married. You don't get married, or you don't have a baby, right? Women are
Right.
like, oh
Right.
my
Right.
God, you meant to feel this way, like you don't feel whole. But people teach you like it's okay. Not
Yes.
everybody's
Yes.
meant to get married. Not everybody's meant to have a baby. Not everybody's
Right.
meant to have that life, but it is difficult to accept.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just difficult, I guess, because, you're seeing, and that's why, like you said, creating that world of your own. I celebrate other things. Like, I celebrate the fact that she wanted to sit there and play on that keyboard and not mess with her iPad that day that much. Like,
That was
I
so
celebrate,
beautiful.
different things. I celebrate her just wanting to make pizza one day. We celebrate that. I'll post that, I'll share that. So what I'm sharing is in a different realm than what they're doing. But
Right.
I'm even more proud of what she's doing, because I admire the bravery. I can't even imagine. I tell people, we laugh about it all the time. I said, child, when Kyla come home sometime, she like, I want to put on my gown, and I just want to get in the bed. I want to chill.
Right.
And you got to think about how it must feel for people asking you throughout the entire course of the day to do things that do not come natural for you.
Right.
You know how exhausting that must feel for
Right.
someone trying to get you to do things the way society deems the way to do it, and yet that's not natural for you. I was like,
Right.
it must be exhausting. So I said, when she says she want to just come home and just like whatever, I'm like, baby, yes,
Yeah.
yes, you could go chill, because I know they've been pulling at you all day to do stuff that may not feel is natural, just trying to process what people are asking of you all
Right.
day.
And by you saying that, because for people that don't know, I'm a paraprofessional with babies of autism. They're 5 years old and 6 years old. And I've been doing it for a year and I love them. I adore them. And I'm learning them. And this is why I started Heart of the Spectrum, because of them. But yes, we do teach them, like walk in the room and hang up your own coat and unpack. And once you get out the chair, so we are teaching them to do we do,
Right.
so
Right.
you're right, like how to push in your chair, and you need the
Mhm.
bathroom, point that you need to go to the bathroom, and if you want, you know what I mean, like you want
Yeah.
this, you have to sit
Right.
nicely. So it's all day that we're like quiet hands, sit
Yes.
nicely,
Right.
you want this, you have to do this, like, so it's constant during the day for 6 hours. So I
Yeah.
understand when she came home, she's like, "Ma, please."
She's like, okay, enough. Leave that at the door. We about to put these pajamas on and chill.
Yeah, it's almost like when you leave work, right? Like you leave work at 9 to 5, 5 o'clock. You leave work and you go home and just chill, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly how she treats it, though. Me and her grandmother crack up at that. I was like, Lord, Kyla done worked a 12-hour day. She is done.
Yeah. So, what has been one of the most beautiful or unexpected blessings in raising your daughter?
Oh. um, she has done something for me that I would have told people forever ago that that ain't happening. I'm not ever. She has. I was always afraid to speak in front of people. I
Mm-hmm.
never wanted to be in front of people. I was always the background type person. I just didn't want no parts of that. So I used to make my own bath and body products.
Right.
And being kind of in that vendor world, I saw a way to create some type of awareness and events for autism, autism families and
Mm-hmm.
moms. And so I started doing things I wasn't comfortable with. I started planning events, like
Right.
me being at the realm of like orchestrating things. And then um, it was all because of her diagnosis that I started putting myself out there. And it was really just for the awareness of with autism and connecting other moms, because that's a very lonely feeling when you first get that diagnosis, especially I can only imagine people that do not have that support. But you could have a million people in your family,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're the only one who is receiving that type of diagnosis, it still can feel very lonely. So
Mm-hmm.
it was important for me to also put other moms in contact with other moms that
Yeah.
receive that diagnosis, whether your child was 21 or 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that have been there can kind of help the ones that haven't yet or just going
Right.
through it. And it was just really important to start connecting these people because I know what I needed
Right.
whenever I got that diagnosis. And it was still helpful to me because she was still very young.
Mm-hmm.
So what came out of that was me putting myself in positions that I wasn't comfortable with, but I have grown so much more as a person and as an entrepreneur just
Yeah.
because of Kyla's diagnosis. It really made me learn something about myself because I would have been like, I'm not doing none of that. I
Mhm.
can't do that. I can't
Right.
do that. And then
Right.
you learn too, she does things all the time that are hard, and she's very brave, and she
Mm-hmm.
keeps pushing and she does it, things that she struggled with. And I'm just so inspired by her all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what do people not see when it comes to being an autism mom?
What they don't see. um we often try to put the bright face forward, being the autism parent, like, oh, we're just, but no sleep sometimes. Sometimes you don't. It's an extreme lack of sleep sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes we neglect our own health, and we shouldn't, because we are, if anybody needs to be around, it's us. But sometimes we neglect our own needs, our own health. It's just being completely transparent. There have been times I've pushed off appointments and stuff just because of stuff I may have going with Kyla, or I may rearrange certain things just because of her. And um, being the mother of a daughter with autism,
Mhm.
just, trying to Okay. The reality of the situation is that you know that one day you may not be around.
Right.
I can just simply be doing her hair and I'll have a moment when I think about, well, who's going to know not to brush her hair this hard or comb her hair? Who's going to know to do this way because she likes this way? Who's going to? So you do have those moments. I try to push those thoughts out as often as I can, but no matter how much you prepare and try to have things taken care of on paper, have everything tight, have a plan,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you yourself may not be around for your child at some point,
Mm-hmm.
it's devastating. It's hard. That's the scariest thing for
Yeah.
me. You ask me my biggest fear, that's
Mm-hmm.
my biggest fear. Not being here for her.
Right. And
Somebody not knowing
do
what
you
she
think you could
means.
actually prepare for that? I mean,
I
do you
don't
think
think
parents prepare for it?
when I say prepare, I mean like as far as people having a plan for what
Mm-hmm.
happens when they go.
Right. As they're for their day to day, like how to treat them, or where they're gonna go, or what are they gonna do, right?
That's the thing. Like you can, even if, like, say for instance, we know pretty much what the plan would be for Kyla. Something happened to me. I mean, it's even more terrified now knowing that her father is gone. But who's going to understand what she means when she says Bruce, 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 Bruce? I know it's a specific Bruce Springsteen and the East Street Band live in New York that she needs to see. I know that. When she says sunglasses, who's going to know that she means Joe Bonamassa, blues guitarist that I didn't even know who that man was until she saw him on television and was like, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, but he was a white man with sunglasses. So sunglasses, nice sunglasses.
Right.
And like who's gonna know when she says certain things, when she says like snap peas, that she's talking about these harvest snap pea snacks. Like there's certain things she still does just like at my house that she doesn't do at her grandparents' house. And she may have a code word between
Right.
each house that
Not
like we
everybody's
don't.
gonna understand.
So it's just like who's gonna care for her? Who's gonna know that she doesn't like the way this feels if it's on her or whatever? Like those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so. And there could be things that cause like mild discomfort to her. But just because I know that it's uncomfortable for her,
Mm-hmm.
I like who's gonna know these things? And
Right.
it's
It's
who's
almost
gonna
like you really can't prepare for it. Like that's those little things you can't prepare for. All we
and
got to
that's
do
why
is just pray to God, right?
yes, all you can do is pray. And I try to push those thoughts out as soon as they come in. I just try to force them out because I can't linger in them because I have to be present for her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I will say that anyone who feels those things or thinks about those things, you're not alone. We all
Mm-hmm.
do, and we do it because we love our children.
Right. I was having a conversation with my girlfriend earlier because I'm dealing with my mom, whose husband has dementia, and it's
Oh,
just the healthcare is just so messed up. Real quick, but the thing is, like, you work all your life, and then you come to a point where somebody's dictating where you go, what you do, and it's like, in all actuality, like we all should really be preparing for that moment so that
yeah.
people know what to do, you know what I mean? But a lot of us, it's not a norm to do.
Mm,
But if you know we make it a norm, I think the world can be a little bit more easier. Like, okay, this is has the plan, pull out the plan, this is where I want to go, this is what she needs to do, this is where
right.
you need to
Hmm.
do, but we just don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so. And even with having a plan, you think you got it all planned out. It's just like those one-off situations that you're like, well, we missed this. Oh, I forgot about that to tell them about this. It's like
Right.
but you can't obsess over it. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I say it's important to like kind of like acknowledge the thought and connect with other moms who go through this.
Right.
But you still need to be present in the moment with your kids and acknowledge what you're feeling, but still do not let it like overtake you because you want to enjoy whatever time you do have
Present.
with
Right.
them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, can you talk about the moment where you felt overwhelmed but still had to show up for your child?
Well, she would kind of go through phases from time to time where she would develop these OCD behaviors, and
Mm-hmm.
they're so different, like each behavior, and it lasts for maybe like a phase and then it's gone as if she never dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
And one one of the particular behaviors, she will repeat certain things. It isn't the echoing because she doesn't echo or repeat what I'm saying,
Uh-huh.
but it may be something that she wants to do. Say, for instance, if she's ready to go back to her grandmother's house or something, she'll like go to Grandma Kathy, 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 go to Grandma Kathy. And she can say it a million times and it will not bother her. And usually, it's funny because usually it's like out of like I don't hear it, like usually. But
Yeah.
there's sometimes when it is a lot. Like
Uh-huh.
just being human is a lot.
Yes.
Like I've heard the mom say, "Honey, I have to go in the bathroom, just close the door for a minute."
Yes.
But it's a lot, and you can feel overwhelmed because you don't know how to make it stop or navigate it in the moment. Just being real. Like
Yeah.
you just don't know how to turn it. Oh, I'll give you a perfect example. Something came up. I had to take her into work with me. I was working at a luxury jeweler and we were there setting up that morning and I had her with me. And typically it would be okay. She would just kind of sit there and do her thing, but she was on the Grandma Maggie kick. Go to Grandma Candy. Go to Grandma Candy. And she was saying, and it wasn't just for me to hear now. Now it's me and like 7 other people
Uh-huh.
in the area. And I was just like, okay, Kyla, let me just get this part done. It was something because I was the office manager. It was something I needed to do. So I was just like, let me get this done, Kyla. And she's like, go Grandma Cat, go Grandma Cat, go Grandma Cat. And I said, Lord, I know these people ready to kick me out this office. Jesus. I know they were like, forget it. We'll ship the
Take her
Rolex.
to grandma.
Don't even worry about it. We don't care about the Breitling. It can go tomorrow. You just
Take her to grandma.
take her to Grandma Kathy house. But I was like so overwhelmed because it's one thing when I'm just dealing with it at home or I'm just having her do it to me at home.
Right.
But now it's here, it's in the workplace. I'm trying to get work done. And then, the people I was just like, they were like, eventually they were like, say, you know what, Tony? I was like, you could have waited and let me come in the next day anyway. But
Right.
trying to be all tough, I told you, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it was overwhelming and you still like when that was done, we still had to go on about our day and do what we had. You still have to show up no matter how overwhelmed you are, whether it's a meltdown that they might be having. Fortunately, thank God she doesn't have those as often now, but she used to experience meltdowns in transitional phases, like if she was transitioning from the car from coming into school to going into the house, like it was like the same meltdown each time. It was just the transition and you get overwhelmed and you might not be feeling well yourself. And I'm perimenopausal right now. So it's like trying to balance all the things, but there really is no other choice
But to show up.
but to show up. So as far as being overwhelmed and still having to show up, I don't know anything but that.
Right,
So
right, right. So
yeah, yeah.
that's like, so how do you navigate the balance between being strong for your child and allowing yourself to feel?
You know, I think it's almost gotten as if I don't know how to not be strong for
Mhm.
her. Um, as far as feeling what I feel, it's almost as if I gotta hold what I'm feeling right here until I can get through whatever it is I'm doing for her. And then when I have that moment to myself, like if she, when, I told you she's in the teenage mode, so she'll go in her room and close the door, and then I can kind of release a little bit, you
Mhm.
know. Um, I must say, fortunately, I'm so thankful that right now, we're not really navigating a lot of behavioral issues with Kyla. I'm very fortunate to say that right
Mhm.
now. The most we have is some of the repetitive, stuff that she might say or what have you. And then that's been very minimal compared to what it has been in the past. Like she's been so good lately with all of that. And even her teachers say so, because sometimes she'll even be at school like, I'm going, mommy, go to mom, go to mom, go
And
to,
so
and
what does the school suggest? Like, what does the support from the school look like?
well, her behaviors at the time was like, just ignore her. He said, we'll ignore her here. Like when she starts saying that, we'll ignore her here. And so we, they want everybody to be on the same page,
Yes.
but that can be difficult when she's going between the school, grandma's house, and mommy's house, So her grandmother's like, Sadie, I can't ignore it. She's like, I just can't ignore. I have to, And I was like, no, I get that. And like I said, a lot of OCD behaviors and things that she would go through, they were just kind of like in phases. Now, I do recall when she would do something like she had to line up the breakfast bar stool with a particular line in the floor, like it had to be just right with that, or she was shutting doors, just slamming doors. Any door that was open, she had to shut the door, shut the door. Now, her teacher did tell me, and this is what I was practicing with her sternly, and this is what I've done going forward. Anytime she starts doing any type of behaviors like that, to just go like and mess it up. Like if she's trying to put the stool exactly some particular place, like, no, Kyla, it doesn't have to be there. See, it's fine. It's fine. And just continuously do that, because her teacher's like, if you don't do things like that to disrupt those behaviors, she's like, it's going to control her life.
Yes.
It'll control her life.
Yes.
So anytime she starts developing something, like at one point she used to have to, she was picking up stuff up off the floor, which I didn't see anything. I'm like, what is she picking up? And you would just have to like, no, Kyla, there's nothing there. You're not picking up anything. Nope, nope, it's good. See, stand up. All good, all good. And it may be a bit exhausting to feel like you have to sit on top of them doing those things,
Right.
but you have to. I've seen it work, like where she just eventually gets tired of you messing with her.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, this ain't even worth it no more.
Yeah. You definitely have to have a lot of patience.
Yes.
Even the teachers, like in school, we just have to have a lot of patience. And as a grandmother, like when I first started, I used to be like, just give her what she wants, like, right? Just give her, just to avoid her crying. But
Right.
then I understood, like, no, you can't do that because you're not teaching them. Like the world
Right.
isn't like that. You're not going to
Mhm.
get everything you want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you wish more people understood about children with autism?
Oh, the number one thing I wish people understood is that they hear you. Stop talking about them like they're not in the room.
Mm-hmm.
They hear what you're saying. They
Mm-hmm.
may not respond in the neurotypical way, but they hear you. When you
Right.
walk into a room and there's a child with autism there, just because you know that they're not going to hey or hi you back, speak to that child.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge that child. Say hello.
Right.
And one day you might be surprised at the
Mm-hmm.
greeting you might get from that child, but do not, please do not act as if just because they are a child with autism and they don't respond in the typical way that you're used to being acknowledged,
Right.
that they aren't present and that they
Mhm.
don't hear you.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wish people would understand that.
Understand that, and it's good like that we say that, because I heard that before. And then when the children aren't, like when they're nonverbal, you automatically think that they can't hear, but they can hear. They hear everything we're saying. So
Mhm.
as a parent and as a teacher, teachers tend to be like, the kid did this, and talk, while the child is
Mhm.
there, not realize they understand.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know so what do you think parents, like, what can parents say? What I'm trying to say is that, what do parents wish they could, like, what support do they wish they can get from the school?
What support do they wish they could get from the school? I have to say, like I'm very fortunate where my daughter attends school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think what I've heard some parents say is that they wish, I guess, that maybe when they do these IEP meetings and things of that sort, I think they want the teachers or the child study team to understand that what they're saying, I think they want to be heard more
Mm-hmm.
so than go by what it is that, because my daughter's child study team, like when we go back and forth, we talk about what we know, what I noticed at home, what her grandmother notices at home. We all want to make sure that we're seeing the same things, because if she hasn't necessarily accomplished something fully, then we don't want that marked down that she has mastered that.
Right.
Um, because if you saying you see it at the school and I'm saying that I don't see it, and it's not because I'm letting her get away with something, because I want to be real about what we are recording, what it is that we're putting down. And I think that a lot of people just want there to be a lot more of them being on the same page. I have seen that just in other Facebook groups and people talking, and I'm like, I'm very fortunate that my daughter's people listen to me,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, but I think they know. Yeah, but I'm just very fortunate that they
Here she
listen to me.
comes.
I'll say. So, I
Yeah.
just I've just been very fortunate with who I have, but I find that I've read it oftentimes in Facebook groups and posts that it's like they can't get on the same page with the people at the IP. I've seen the memes and the jokes where people like they have to go in there ready for war and for battle when they go into these IEP meetings. And I've never felt that way with her school. She's been very
Oh,
fortunate.
that's
And maybe
fortunate.
it's got a lot to do with her grandmother and her father and them like coming up through that school system and still working in the school system. I don't know. But
Mhm.
I've never ever had a problem with them. And they've even gone so far as to ask certain questions if they notice her behavior is a little different. Like they
Yeah.
initiate certain things as well. So I've been very fortunate, but a lot of what I've seen people comment and post, it seems like a constant battle when they're facing
I
IEPs
see.
and things of that sort.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the routines, strategies, or tools that have helped your daughter thrive?
Um, I think kind of like what I touched on when I was speaking with the behaviors, like we all have to make sure that we're on the same page for the most part, because she does travel between households. Um, so I think what mostly helps her thrive is when we are all doing exactly that, when everybody is making sure that, um, well, when she does this, like I was speaking about the repetitive behaviors and the OCDs and things of that sort, the only way she's able to break those behaviors is if, you know, her grandmother's house and when her father was living and when, me, myself, we have to be on top of her whenever she starts developing those, because she she obsesses over it when she does, and it keeps her from thinking forward because she's so in that moment of
Right.
whatever she's doing. So as long as we're all on the same page with breaking those behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
she is able to focus and do other things.
That's
um
great.
yeah, and then too, trying, and we're still a work in progress with this, Lord,
Mhm.
limiting her iPad time.
Right.
Yeah, because she, just trying to make sure she's not on that as much, because then in turn she may do some more scripting and things of that sort. So basically, just everybody making sure they're on the same page is
Same
what
page.
helps her. Yeah.
Right. So how do you celebrate your daughter's wins, big or small?
I think whenever we're celebrating anything that Kyla does that, we're making a big deal about, and, you say big or small, even the small wins are the biggest deal for us. I do the most annoying voice. I know and I only realize it's annoying when I play back the video of me recording her doing something. I was like, Lord, I said, my voice is so annoying. But it's like, Kyla, good job. Like, it's always the praise. And when she gets that big grin across her face, like, just like she did it, um and when my older daughter was living with us, just like celebrating Kyla writing her name, she writes her name, like, oh, Kyla, you did it,
Great
she's all proud. And it's
job.
like, oh, do it again, do it again. Let me do that again for them. Let me show them.
Right,
And
right,
it's just those moments when you see that she's proud because she's glowing and we're gloating over her. We're making a big deal of her. And I think it's important to make a big deal about our kids doing things like that, because you have, like we were speaking earlier, kids that are maybe, playing ball in school, or they're doing this and that and the third. And people are making a big deal about them in those moments. So whatever that moment is, this is our basketball moment. This is our slam dunk moment, our winning basket moment. So we need to make as big of a deal about
right.
that with her and celebrate it just the same.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So how has this journey changed you as a woman?
Um, this journey has changed me as a woman. You know how they teach you the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line? Okay.
Hmm.
So this journey has been anything but a straight line. It's been up and down and all over the place. And it's taught me that everything is figure outable.
Right,
That's the word we're going to say. Everything, you can figure it out. Um, it may not be the the popular way of doing things or the mainstream way of doing things,
hmm,
but there are other ways of doing things. And I've learned that just looking at Kyla, her perspective is different. The way she may get to one outcome may not be the way that you would have thought it to be. So just knowing that there are other ways of doing things and I think that has helped me to grow, because I don't get so stuck in my head when something doesn't go according to plan,
right,
because autism diagnosis was not according to plan. But you
right,
know what? You figure it out, you figure out how to work around it. And I just think that that's probably the biggest lesson I'll say that I've learned through all of this, is not just to sideline yourself whenever something doesn't go according to plan. You just figure out a way around it.
right,
And I've learned a lot of that just looking at things through different perspectives with Kyla. Yeah.
right. Okay. So what advice would you give to a mother who just received an autism diagnosis for her child?
Okay. Well, first of all, um, I know it may seem, like I said, the loneliest moment in your life, because you have, everybody else going about their lives in their normal way, and here you have been, hit in the face with this, I'll say. uh I advise you to connect with other moms, because they've been there, and they're going to tell you some things that are going to help you in some of your lowest moments
Mhm.
and some of the times when you feel the most discouraged, those are going to be the people that can help pull you out of that, because people that haven't been there, they can't really speak to it in the way
Right.
that someone else has. So I would say, first of all, and you can easily find these women, their local Facebook groups, get within your community, there are groups that you can find, but those moms are out there and they are waiting with open arms to pour into you, sis. So
Do
definitely.
you have like specific ones? I know I've learned about Nassan's place. Are there ones that stand out for you that you could?
Yes, yes. Nassan's place is definitely one, because what I love about Nassan's place too is, like, these women look like me, you know. And I'm not saying don't connect with, whatever autism mom that can, that doesn't look like you, that can help you. But it's just something about people that look like you and that are going through this, because sometimes we may receive a different type of treatment in
Mhm.
certain situations as well. So it's good to connect with women like that. Like I said, Nassan's place, um, Nadine has been amazing. Trey is awesome. I reached out to her because she was saying that Jermaine was having some, went through a phase with eating, and Kyla was going through something. So I was like, what was he eating? All she eating is crunchy stuff. She's like, it could be texture. I was like, yeah, that could be it. So it's great just to be able to have women that you can touch base with, that may be experiencing something that you're going through, and
Right.
can help pull you out of that, because you're not the first one to go through it. And you have a whole tribe of women out there that are there to support you, because they know what it was like when they first got that diagnosis.
Yes, yes. So if your daughter could fully express how she feels about you as her mom, what do you think she would say?
I think she would say, like, it's just like I see thank you all over her face sometimes. Like, I see it there. Um, you know, I think she would be like, "Ma, thank you for coming and brushing the crumbs out my bed." When I say crumbs in my bed, like thank you
Oh,
for just knowing that that's uncomfortable for me, and you helping me do that, or helping show me how to do that, but I still don't want to do it, so I'd rather you do it. Like I see the thankful, the grateful look, like, just all over her
a
face.
lot
So
of
I think
gratitude.
that, yeah, I just think that she would, just tell me thank you. Like, I mean, I she's just the most precious thing. I just think about her little face, and she's just like, and her
Oh,
hugs, the way she hugs you, she just leans her head into your chest. That's how she hugs. She just
oh,
leans her head there. And it's
that's
just,
beautiful.
yeah.
So for every autism mom watching right now who feels exhausted, unseen, or overwhelmed, what would you say to her from your heart?
Mm. Sis, I see you. I've been there. I love you. And thank you for being the mother that your child needs. Thank you for being that person for your child. We all get tired. We certainly do. But just to know that you are present for your child, but also take a moment, sis, and be present for you. So when they go to sleep, Lord, whenever that is, you take a moment and you go binge watch your most trash TV show, or whatever it is, whatever you need to do to find a moment of peace, you go do that, sis.
That's beautiful. And if you need, get a glass of wine.
Yes, honey. Clank, clank. Get a glass of wine, whatever you need to do. But just make sure you take a moment, and you do have to breathe and kind of decompress, so that you can be your healthiest self for your child. So always, be there for them, but also make sure you take a moment so that you can kind of breathe and check in on you. Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you. How do you merge being an autism mom with being a leader for Black women entrepreneurs?
Woo. Okay. So you know what? It's funny, even though the communities themselves are different, the autism community and Black women small business owners, but one thing we have in common is that we both need to be seen, We both need the awareness and a light shine on who we are. And I think that because I have been able to be active as an autism mom with trying to connect mothers with one another to try to have them find a community, it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of easy to segue that into Black women small business owners and
Mm-hmm.
trying to make sure that they also knew that they had a community, that they had a sisterhood of women that were there pulling for them. And it's funny because with the magazine, you think Black women small business owners, but you know what? I'm an autism mom and I'm a Black woman small business owner. So
Right.
those worlds do overlap. And what I love about that is that when we have our April quarter issue, I always put a Black woman, small business owner who happens to be an autism mom on the cover of each of the April issues. And we do have other people from the autism community in these issues. And I just love that I can like lift everybody up at once. And I
Right.
love being able to amplify those voices at once. And
Yes.
I can't get enough of it. Like I grin from ear to ear when I'm finished with the issue, because Lord, editing child. But when I'm finished with the issue, I'm like
Yes.
grinning because I'm just so proud that these are my people. They are on both sides.
Yes. And I thank you for including me in this issue.
Yes, and we're so happy to have you. We love it when, it's not just like autism moms or whatever in the issue. That's great, but we love people who work with us helping our babies, and just I think that light needs to be shined on y'all as well, because it's a special kind of person that's able to get through and help our kids and just be there with our babies. I know in turn y'all, you love on them, and it's just a very special person that chooses to do that. So
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So take us back. What was the moment or experience that sparked the vision for Meet the Woman Behind the Business?
Okay, let's go back to COVID, as most people's businesses do. We
Mhm.
go back to COVID time, and everybody's online, everybody's on Instagram, TikTok, or what have you.
Mhm.
And every time I opened my Instagram, there was a Black woman, small business owner. Black women, one thing we're known to do,
Mhm.
we're gonna figure out a way to get the income that we need whenever times are hard, because that's
Right.
all we've ever known. We've known surviving all our lives. So I was seeing all of these Black women, and I was like, wow. And I'm actually ordering some of their product because I'm at home, we all. So I'm ordering products, supporting these women, and I'm getting these products, and I'm so impressed by them. I was like, well, this is better than anything I got on anybody's shelf.
Right. Right.
So I decided, and at that time, I didn't have a big following at all. I was like, I'm gonna reach out to these people and see if they want to be on a podcast. So I
Mhm.
started the Meet the Woman Behind the Business podcast. I was doing Sadie
Okay.
Says It All, Meet the Woman Behind the Business. So I'm reaching out to these women, and I was like, these women gonna look at my page and be like, she ain't got no followers. I don't know who that is. I'm not.
Uh-huh.
And to my surprise, they were like, yes, I would love to. Yeah, I'll go on. So I started out with the podcast. So I would feature these Black women small business owners. And, we would get on. And the biggest thing people need to understand when it comes to putting any type of product or service out there, be a storyteller. Let people know your story, because that's how they're going to relate to you. That's how they're going to remember you
Mhm.
and connect with you. So I thought it was great. These women would come on and they would tell their stories about how they got to where they were, how they started their business, and then we play a game while we're on there too. So you get their personalities. So
Right.
now we're laughing and kikiing. It's culture and it's their business and them telling their stories. And so the magazine was born from that. I was like, you know what? I think I want to start a magazine, something in print, because everything is kind of getting so dismissive when it comes to certain people are like, why would you have a print magazine now when there's so many digital, you can do a digital publication? I was
Right.
like, because the one thing that's undeniable is this print, something that you can hold, something you can feel, something that's tangible. I said, in this day and age of AI,
Right.
you don't know what's real. I was like, but you know what's real when I show you this. This is real.
Yeah.
These businesses are real.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I started the magazine from doing the interviews with the women,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just something. All the ladies would say it was just something about seeing my business there in print and knowing that it's going to other people and people in our community. And yeah, it was just something so, and I was asked the question, well, it's so niche. It's only Black women small business owners. Do you think you're ever going to run out of people to, and I paused for a moment when they put that to me. I was like, no, I'm not going to run out. You watch.
Nope.
And sure enough, every issue is at least anywhere from 70 to like 78 pages each issue.
Wow,
So
that's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
wish you much, much, much success on that. Continued success. Keep doing what you're doing. So what do you have coming up and how can people get in contact with you?
okay, so coming up, we do have our April quarter issue, which drops April 15th. That will be available on April 15th. You can actually get that on our website, and that is the acronym for Meet the Woman Behind the Business. So it's mtwbtb.com. That is where you can find the magazine and everything that's Meet the Woman Behind the Business magazine. Also, we have our Elevate Houston Sisterhood Business Weekend that is coming up in October. So, yes, you need to be there because this is an event that it's a curated event. Okay, it's a
Mm-hmm.
curated event. This is where these people are aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's not just a big fluff event where you just got a bunch of people coming there and nobody's getting anything out of it. This is a true event of sisterhood. And I know you hear that term sisterhood thrown around very loosely, but this is what it is. The
Mm-hmm.
women that were there last year, honey, we're still in a group chat now,
Ah,
supporting one another. And let me
ready
tell
to
you
come
what,
out the chat. Ready to come
you
out
need
the
to
chat.
come out for
I'm gonna
that.
be there. I'm coming.
You need to be there because here's the thing. The end of this month, I am
Uh-huh.
actually flying out to Detroit to host a workshop there at a high school teaching teenagers how to create their own Black teen magazine, all
Nice.
because of the event that took place in Houston, you know.
Nice.
And these opportunities, that's what I mean. When you get in a room of women who are
Mm-hmm.
aligned and who are there to show up for one another,
Mm-hmm.
you would really be surprised what growth and what things come out of it. And it's just such a great weekend. Let me just run down real quick what's happening. All right, so we have the pop-up event that is taking place on October 24th. That's the pop-up. We have the fashion show during that. We have a sisterhood community panel. It's an open bar. There's a barbecue food truck there, and we have vendors. So it's going to be an amazing time. That evening, we have our sisterhood dinner, and then we have our sip and paint sing-along where we sing along to Lil Joe to see Lil New Edition. We're
Okay.
sipping, we're painting, we're kikiing and having a great time. That Sunday, we have our Bold, Bright, and Black Affirmations brunch. So
Mm-hmm.
that is where you come dressed in like your polo classic type of, and we have our affirmations brunch. And then there is our Meet the Woman Behind the Business honors award ceremony. So we'll be presenting some awards that afternoon. So yes, it's just a weekend full of goodness and good time and sisterhood vibes. And don't bring no stank energy, as we say. So, so this is a true sisterhood event. Ain't nobody there acting like they Oprah, and got it all together. So when we say genuine
Right.
connection and support, that's what we mean.
Okay. Okay. So I look forward to that. And
Yes.
I definitely will be in contact with you. Sadie, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your heart, your journey, and your truth with such openness and grace. Your story reminds us that behind every diagnosis is a family learning, growing, adapting, and loving deeper than ever before. Your advocacy, your vulnerability, your commitment to creating spaces of awareness and compassion are making an impact far beyond what you may even realize. To
Mhm.
every parent, caregiver, and autism family watching, let Sadie's story be a reminder that you are not alone. Your journey matters and your love is powerful. Thank you all for tuning in to the Heart of the Spectrum. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep leading with love, keep spreading awareness, and keep making space for every story to be seen and heard. I am Monique Bass, and this is Heart of the Spectrum. Good night. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Have a good night.